Shinichi Izumi wakes up one morning with a strange and unsettling sensation in his right hand. Unbeknownst to him, a parasite, a parasitic creature that infiltrates human bodies, attempted to enter his body through his ear canal the night before, aiming to control his brain. However, due to Shinichi wearing earphones while sleeping, the parasite was forced to redirect its path, burrowing into his right arm instead. Unaware of the presence of the parasite, Shinichi continues with his daily routine and heads to school. Unfortunately, on his way, his right hand acts on its own, unintentionally groping his fellow student, Satomi Murano. This baffling incident leaves Shinichi confused and disturbed, unable to comprehend the strange changes happening to his body. The true nature of the parasite within Shinichi begins to reveal itself when on his way back home, he witnesses a little girl in imminent danger of being hit by a car. To his astonishment, his right hand instinctively moves on its own, stopping the vehicle just in time to save the girl's life. This event shocks Shinichi, making him question his own sanity and the inexplicable powers his hand now possesses. Driven by confusion and fear, Shinichi decides to test the limits of his newfound abilities. In a desperate attempt to regain control over his right hand, he tries to stab it with a knife. However, his efforts are in vain as the parasite reveals its true form, emerging from his hand and breaking the knife with ease. Shinichi's world is shattered as he comes face to face with the reality that he shares his body with a foreign creature. With this shocking revelation, Shinichi is now forced to navigate a precarious situation. He must cooperate with the parasite inhabiting his hand while concealing its existence from his parents, Kazuyuki Izumi and Nobuko Izumi. The burden of this secret weighs heavily on Shinichi, further isolating him from those closest to him. As Shinichi reluctantly partners with the parasite, he discovers that it has its own agenda and directives. It directs Shinichi's attention to a dog inhabited by another parasite, showcasing the gruesome reality of the parasite's existence. Shinichi witnesses that the only way to eliminate this creature is by destroying the heart of its host. Thus, Shinichi's journey begins as he grapples with his own identity, the limitations of his humanity, and the constant threat of the parasites. He must navigate the delicate balance between cooperating with the parasite within him and protecting the lives of those around him, all while keeping the truth hidden from his loved ones. Shinichi, seeking a way to address the parasite inhabiting his right hand, asks for a name. The parasite obliges and introduces itself as Migi, meaning right in Japanese. With this new designation, Shinichi now has a name to refer to his symbiotic partner. In an effort to impress Satomi, Shinichi participates in a basketball game at school and makes the winning shot. After the game, he takes the opportunity to apologize to Satomi for the incident that occurred earlier when he accidentally groped her. This gesture displays Shinichi's sincerity and desire to make amends. However, their interaction does not go unnoticed by Kazuki Nagai, who becomes jealous and confronts Shinichi outside. Overwhelmed with fear, Shinichi recoils, but Migi takes control of his body and forces him to punch Kazuki. This unexpected display of aggression surprises Shinichi, emphasizing the complex dynamic between him and Migi. Meanwhile, rumors of gruesome murders begin to circulate worldwide. Shinichi becomes aware of these reports through his friend Yuko Tachikawa. Migi explains that the parasites engage in cannibalism as a means of survival, consuming other parasites to sustain themselves. This revelation deepens Shinichi's understanding of the parasite's nature and their ruthless instincts. Migi's heightened senses detect the presence of a parasite controlling a man named Mr. B nearby. Recognizing the potential danger, Shinichi takes it upon himself to lure the parasite away from populated areas. In an alley, Mr. B approaches them, extending an invitation for Migi to join him, suggesting that their lifelines could be extended by cooperating. However, Migi ultimately decides to kill Mr. B, choosing to remain with Shinichi instead. Uncertain if relocation is a viable option for parasites, Migi reaffirms its commitment to Shinichi. The following day, Shinichi treats Satomi to pancakes, enjoying a moment of respite. However, their tranquility is interrupted when they witness 3 thugs cruelly throwing stones at a cat buried in a playground sandbox. Driven by his growing sense of justice and newfound strength, Shinichi intervenes, surprising Satomi with his apparent change in personality. During a school assembly, Shinichi is taken aback when he discovers that the new math teacher, Ryoko Tamiya, is actually a parasite and is aware of his secret. This revelation fills Shinichi with a sense of unease and vulnerability, as his secret is now known by someone within the school. After the math class, Shinichi arranges a private meeting with Ryoko in the counselor's office. To his surprise, she expresses no interest in engaging in a fight with him. Instead, she invites him to meet her after school to discuss matters further. Intrigued and cautious, Shinichi agrees to the meeting. In a restaurant, Shinichi meets with Ryoko, who introduces her partner, Mr. A. The revelation that Ryoko is pregnant shocks Shinichi, highlighting the unnerving fact that parasites can reproduce by taking over human bodies. This revelation adds another layer of complexity to the already intricate world of the parasites. As their meeting progresses, Mr. A becomes suspicious of Shinichi and considers him to be a potential threat. Feeling uneasy, he decides to leave the restaurant. The encounter leaves Shinichi on edge, aware of the dangers that surround him. The following day, chaos erupts as Mr. A ambushes Shinichi's school campus, perceiving him as a threat. He attacks the staff, forcing the students to evacuate in panic. Shinichi is faced with a critical decision, whether to prioritize his own safety or protect the innocent students caught in the crossfire. Migi suggests using the crowd of students as a shield, but Shinichi vehemently opposes the idea of causing harm to anyone. Instead, he formulates a plan to lead Mr. A away from the students, taking advantage of the layout of the school. Shinichi lures his adversary to the top floor, away from the crowd. With fear coursing through his veins, Shinichi barricades the area using desks, creating a makeshift barrier. In this tense standoff, Migi reminds Shinichi of their symbiotic bond and the necessity of fighting together. The imminent threat of Mr. A closing in on them forces Shinichi to face his fears and embrace his newfound strength. As the battle intensifies between Migi and Mr. A, the two engage in a rapid exchange of attacks. Taking advantage of Mr. A's underestimation of his human opponent, Shinichi strategically punctures him in the chest using a metal table leg. The blow proves to be fatal, causing Mr. A to stagger and weaken. Shinichi's plan works, showcasing his tactical thinking and ability to exploit his adversary's weaknesses. Despite his mortal wound, Mr. A desperately seeks out Ryoko in the counselor's office, driven by a mix of instinct and determination. However, Ryoko, realizing that Mr. A poses a threat to her own safety, she triggers an explosion by igniting gas tanks, creating a powerful blast that engulfs the office and kills Mr. A. Ryoko manages to escape the explosion, ensuring her survival. However, the consequences of her actions force Ryoko to resign from her position at the school. The news of her pregnancy reaches her colleagues, exposing the truth about her unique situation. This revelation leads to her departure, as societal norms cannot accommodate the existence of a parasite-human hybrid. Shinichi encounters Ryoko outside the school, and she takes the opportunity to provide him with further insight into the nature of the parasites. She explains that every living organism follows a directive, a natural instinct or purpose that guides their actions. In the case of the parasites, their directive is to feast on humans. This revelation adds depth to the understanding of the parasite's motivations and challenges the notions of morality and purpose. In the aftermath of the confrontation, Migi begins to experiment with separating itself from Shinichi's body for short periods of time. This development showcases the ever-evolving bond between Shinichi and Migi as they explore the limits of their symbiotic relationship. Meanwhile, Shinichi's parents, Kazuyuki and Nobuko, plan a trip to the beach. However, Shinichi's concerns about their safety arise due to the ongoing mincemeat murders committed by the parasites. Despite his worries, Shinichi ultimately decides that his parents should go on the trip, assuring them that he will be fine during their absence. This exchange reveals Shinichi's growth and his willingness to put the safety of his loved ones above his own concerns. As Shinichi's psychological changes become more apparent, he starts to suspect that something is happening within him. Comments from his parents and friends further fuel his suspicions. The weight of these changes weighs heavily on Shinichi as he tries to make sense of the turmoil within himself. One day, Shinichi witnesses a gang of delinquents led by Mitsuo assaulting Kazuki, one of his classmates. Fueled by his sense of justice, Shinichi steps in to help but finds himself overwhelmed and takes a severe beating. Before the gang leaves, a perceptive female gang member named Kana Kimishima detects an anomaly in Shinichi's nature, sensing that something is off about him. Later after school, Mitsuo and his gang abduct Satomi, leaving Shinichi desperate and determined to rescue her. Refusing assistance from Migi, Shinichi confronts Mitsuo, but quickly realizes that he is no match for the gang leader. In a stroke of luck, a senior student named Kamiju arrives with a large group of friends to deal with Mitsuo, giving Shinichi an opportunity to free Satomi from her captors. Grateful for the assistance, Shinichi walks Satomi back to his house for safety. Once Satomi leaves, Kana unexpectedly shows up to apologize to Shinichi for her earlier suspicions. However, as she shakes hands with him, Kana detects something strange, sensing a different wavelength emanating from Shinichi. Migi deduces that Kana possesses a unique ability to perceive wavelengths that are perceptible to parasites. This revelation introduces a new dynamic to the story, as Shinichi and Migi realize that Kana's ability could be crucial in their ongoing battle against the parasites. Meanwhile, a parasite searching for a new female host targets Nobuko, Shinichi's mother. The parasite kills and takes over her body before launching an attack on Kazuyuki, Shinichi's father. In a tense and shocking turn of events, Shinichi receives a call from his father, warning him about Nobuko's possession. However, Shinichi is left speechless when Nobuko arrives home, seemingly unharmed, only to stab him through the chest. After Nobuko abruptly leaves, Migi merges into Shinichi's body to seal the hole in his heart, effectively saving his life. However, this merge has an unintended consequence. Shinichi gains heightened senses but becomes emotionally distant as a result. He struggles to connect with his own emotions and those of others, feeling an increasing disconnect from his own humanity. Upon learning that Kazuyuki, his father, is in the hospital, Shinichi is filled with determination to seek revenge against the parasite responsible for controlling Nobuko and causing her death. In his quest for justice, he encounters Makiko Hayase, a young student working at an inn nearby. Their meeting offers a brief respite from the turmoil in Shinichi's life, but his focus remains unwavering. At the hospital, Shinichi's anger flares when he realizes that Kazuyuki has been told he suffered a head injury, rather than facing the truth about what transpired at the beach. The frustration he feels stems from his father's inability to confront the harsh reality of the situation. This moment highlights the strain in their relationship as they grapple with the aftermath of Nobuko's death. With a renewed sense of purpose, Shinichi decides to stay at the inn while he plans his next move in finding the parasite responsible for his mother's demise. The inn serves as a temporary base of operations as he delves deeper into the investigation. Migi reveals an interesting fact to Shinichi. Ever since repairing his heart, Migi's senses become inoperative for 4 hours each day while it falls asleep. This newfound limitation adds an additional layer of complexity to their partnership, as Shinichi must navigate the challenges and dangers he faces during those periods without the enhanced abilities provided by Migi. The following day, as Shinichi interacts with Makiko, attempting to flirt with him, Migi's senses detect the presence of a nearby parasite. The urgency of the situation compels Shinichi to spring into action. Surprising even himself, he runs at a remarkably inhuman speed towards the end of the seawall, where he hopes to confront the individual who may hold answers about Nobuko's tragic fate. Izumi meets Mamoru Uda, who has a parasite fused to his jaw, and learns that there are more people like him. Migi and Izumi discuss his abrupt body changes. It appears to be that Izumi has acquired godlike abilities in light of the fact that Migi spread himself through his inward body. Just as Migi and Izumi begin their 4-hour sleep, Nobuko arrives. In order to keep Izumi safe while they go into hibernation, Migi creates a scythe. Nobuko and Mamoru battle, and utilizing an extraordinary assault, Mamoru figures out how to kill him. Izumi and his father return to their home after some time. At the point when Satomi and Izumi get back home, things turn tragic. Satomi is a lot colder and far off, so this creates tension between the dad and child. In the meantime, Ryoko orders a young person that is constrained by a parasite to look after Izumi. Very soon, Izumi additionally begins to see his way of behaving. He can't cry any longer, and he acts more like Migi. The understudy that was sent by Ryoko is called Hideo Shimada, and he gets together with Izumi when he shows up at school. Hideo begins to mess around with Izumi and Kana. That very evening, Hideo changes his face to look like Izumi, and he eats an honest young lady. The head of police named Takizawa shows up to cross-examine Izumi's father about his significant other's passing and the parasites. Haruki Tachikawa is the more established brother of Yuko, Izumi's dear companion, and he figures out how to draw a police sketch of the suspect killing individuals. Before long, Yuko sorts out that Hideo can morph his face, and that is when Haruki clears up for Yuko about the parasites. The next day, Yuko goes to defy Hideo about his falsehoods and twofold character. Hideo assaults Yuko, however their battle gets stopped when Yuko leaps through of the window. Hideo fails to keep a grip on his parasite structure and begins to kill everybody in sight. Although the students are evacuated, numerous of them are killed in the attacks. Hideo moves to the roofs, and there Izumi appears and throws a Goliath rock at him. This rock kills Hideo right where he stands by going through his chest. After the assault, the public authority chooses to conceal the occasions with the goal that people in general don't look into parasites. A parasite with the name Gotu kills very nearly a whole Yakuza association while testing its capacity. Izumi is as yet reluctant about telling his secrets to Kana. He does not know if he can trust her yet. Later in the day, Izumi sees that Migi has completely converged with him. They are now one body. Kana is furious when she sees Izumi and Satomi on a date and kiss. Migi begins to distinguish that there are 8 parasites at a mayoral mission. Izumi is confounded about why a parasite would be attempting to turn into a city chairman. Shinichi and Migi reach a chilling conclusion. Hirokawa, the newly elected mayor, is running for office to establish a safe haven for parasites. Alarmed by the potential threat this poses, Shinichi becomes increasingly concerned about Kana's safety. He arranges to meet her in an abandoned building, seizing the opportunity to reveal the truth about parasites while Migi is asleep. Though Kana initially dismisses it as a joke, Shinichi promises to introduce her to Migi one day. Later, Migi divulges a crucial piece of information to Shinichi. Kana emits a weak signal detectable by parasites, making her a potential target. Realizing the danger she faces, Shinichi convinces Migi to reveal his true form when planning to meet Kana at a train station. However, upon detecting the presence of parasites, Shinichi cancels the meeting, determined to prioritize their safety. Unbeknownst to Shinichi, Kana assumes that he will be waiting for her at the abandoned building. Trusting her instincts, she tracks him there, unknowingly walking into a deadly encounter. She comes face to face with a parasite hosting a man who ruthlessly stabs her through the chest. As Shinichi arrives on the scene, consumed by blind rage and grief, he taps into a reservoir of strength previously untapped. With fury coursing through his veins, he rips out the man's heart, surprising even Migi with his astonishing power. Tragically, Kana breathes her last in Shinichi's arms. At Kana's funeral, Shinichi Izumi exhibits an unsettling calmness amidst the mourning, raising questions about his humanity. His seemingly detached demeanor leaves others questioning the depths of his emotions and the extent of his transformation. He is now really worried that he might change into an emotionless monster in the future. He fears this is happening because of his connection with Migi. Meanwhile, the newly appointed mayor, Hirokawa, holds a board meeting with Reiko Tamura to discuss Kana's death. Tasked with investigating Shinichi's involvement, Reiko enlists the services of a private investigator named Shiro Kuramori. Additionally, she arranges for a group of thugs to attack Shinichi, hoping to exploit the power of his right hand. However, their attempts prove futile against Shinichi's formidable abilities. Yuko shares unsettling news with Satomi, revealing Shinichi's apparent indifference to Kana's death. The revelation deeply unsettles Satomi, further straining their relationship. Under the cover of night, Shiro follows Shinichi as he returns to the abandoned building to mourn the loss of Kana. Spotting Migi, Shiro becomes the target of the parasite, who attempts to kill him. In a desperate act to protect Shiro, Shinichi restrains Migi, allowing Shiro to escape unharmed. The following day, Shinichi and Migi review the video footage captured by Shiro's camcorder, strengthening Shinichi's belief that he is being targeted as a lab rat. Days later, Shinichi encounters the wounded Shiro, who continues to shadow his every move. The persistent presence of his pursuer fuels Shinichi's unease and paranoia. In the evening, Shinichi meets Satomi at the playground, yet he hesitates to disclose the truth about himself, further deepening the divide between them. The weight of his secret becomes a barrier to their relationship, raising questions about trust and acceptance. He does not want to ruin their relationship and reveal that he has these strange powers. In his quest for answers and justice, Shinichi seeks out Mamoru for assistance in capturing and interrogating Shiro. However, when Shiro recounts his encounter with Shinichi's right hand to Reiko, she dismisses his claims and terminates his services. Undeterred, Shinichi and Mamoru take matters into their own hands, abducting Shiro and bringing him to the abandoned building. There, Shinichi explains the events leading to Kana's tragic death. Initially skeptical, Shiro's doubts are dispelled when Migi physically threatens him and reveals the true nature of his employer, Reiko, as a parasite. The following day, Shinichi arranges a meeting with Reiko on the roof of a university after she attends a lecture on human behavior. Reiko divulges her interest in the evolution of parasites, highlighting their progression from a reliance on killing and consuming humans to a potential form of coexistence, albeit an unequal one. She taunts Shinichi about Nobuko's death, provoking him to engage in a fight. However, Reiko cunningly uses her baby as a human shield, forcing Shinichi to retreat due to the unbearable pain in his chest. Seeking solace and guidance, Shinichi stumbles upon a fortune teller who offers him advice. The fortune teller suggests that to find closure, Shinichi must confront the person who caused the hole in his heart. Much to Shinichi's bitter realization, he recognizes that the person responsible for the hole in his heart is none other than his own mother, whom he has already killed. Unbeknownst to Shinichi, Hirakawa has been working to secure dining areas for the parasites within his secretive organization. Shiro takes Shinichi and Migi to a parking garage where they witness Kawada, a parasite hosting a man, ruthlessly murdering an innocent woman. Shiro records the intense battle between Shinichi, Migi, and Kawada. However, Shiro decides to dispose of the incriminating video footage and withdraws from investigating parasites, perhaps out of fear for his own safety. Determined to take matters into his own hands, Shinichi vows to eliminate the parasites one by one, driven by his unwavering desire for justice. Meanwhile, Hirakawa perceives Shinichi as a threat, specifically due to his intervention in the parking garage, and recruits Goto to eliminate him. While attending school, Migi detects the presence of 3 parasites with the intention of killing Shinichi. Desperate and running for his life, Shinichi is dismayed when Migi falls into a 4-hour sleep period, rendering him temporarily defenseless. To exacerbate the situation, Miki, another parasite dispatched by Hirakawa, catches up to Shinichi in the middle of the road. The gravity of the situation intensifies as Shinichi and Migi realize that the 3 parasites share a single host body, Miki. In an effort to eliminate the threat of Miki, Shinichi and Migi venture into the woods. However, to their astonishment, they discover that Miki is part of a larger entity known as Goto. Goto is composed of 5 parasites, each hosting a different limb in the head. Realizing the formidable nature of their opponent, Shinichi and Migi are forced to flee for their lives, seeking refuge by hitching a ride. Outside a restaurant, Shinichi urgently contacts Kazuyuki, warning him to leave their house as they might become targets. Aware of the escalating danger, Shinichi takes precautions to protect his family. Meanwhile, Shiro undergoes a traumatic experience as his office is burned down, and his family is brutally murdered by Kusano, Hikawa, and Maisawa, 3 members of Hirakawa's cabal. In the aftermath, Shiro is interrogated by Detective Hirama, who aims to unravel the events that have unfolded. The extent of the brutality shocks Shiro, leaving him shattered and desperate for answers. Reiko, on the other hand, berates Kusano, Hikawa, and Maisawa for their failure to eliminate Shiro. Tensions rise within Hirakawa's cabal as they grapple with their distrust of Reiko, who recognizes the strength of the human race far more than they anticipated. Under the cover of night, Shiro secretly follows Reiko, observing her every move. Soon, she becomes surrounded by Kusano, Hikawa, and Maisawa, cornered and vulnerable. At a municipal construction site, Reiko skillfully deals with the 3 assailants, using a fragment of herself as a diversion to defeat them individually. With her strategic maneuver, she gains the upper hand, overcoming her opponents. Having successfully fended off her attackers, Reiko returns home, only to discover that her son has been kidnapped by Shiro. In a chilling note, Shiro demands a meeting at the park. Faced with the imminent danger to her child, Reiko reaches out to Shinichi, urging him to join her at the designated location. Meanwhile, Satomi, consumed by worry for Shinichi's safety, attempts to follow Reiko but loses track of her in the process. At the park's bridge, a tense standoff unfolds as Shiro threatens to throw Reiko's son to his death, accusing her of being a cold-blooded monster. Faced with the ultimate test, Reiko surprises even herself as she swiftly stabs Shiro, rescues her son, and prevents him from falling over the railing. In his dying moments, Shiro manages to convey Reiko's identity to Detective Hirama, who arrives on the scene. As snow begins to fall, Shinichi comes face to face with Reiko, the woman whose actions have left a trail of destruction in their wake. The encounter between Shinichi and Reiko sets the stage for an intense confrontation, as both protagonists navigate the complex dynamics of their existence and grapple with their own humanity. Reiko tells Izumi that her exploration has shown that mankind and parasites are connected, and that parasites can't exist without people. Hirama shows up with his officials and orders everyone to fire on Reiko. Reiko doesn't take off and she gives Izumi her child. She expects him to care for him. Soon after that, Reiko dies from her injuries. At last, Izumi figures out how to cry as he is overpowered by feelings. Hirama then, at that point, takes Izumi to be addressed, and there he meets Uragami. He is a hazardous chronic executioner who has the ability to find parasites. Due to the suspicious nature of Shinichi's constant encounters with parasites, Hirama takes him to an interrogation room for questioning. There, he is confronted by Uragami, a prisoner and serial killer who claims to possess the ability to detect parasites. However, much to Hirama's frustration, Uragami does not detect anything inhuman within Shinichi's eyes. The encounter leaves Hirama considering alternative approaches to combating the parasites. Hirama proposes a plan to utilize Uragami's unique abilities in an upcoming tactical operation aimed at taking down the parasites. However, the operation is dismissively referred to as pest control by police officer Yamagishi, reflecting the dehumanizing perception of the parasites. As the school year draws to a close, Shinichi astounds everyone during physical education class by achieving record time on the running track, showcasing the enhanced physical abilities he has acquired since merging with Migi. In a conversation with Satomi, Shinichi's actions catch the attention of Hirama, who approaches him and recruits him to participate in the operation. Satomi, frustrated by the constant involvement of parasites in Shinichi's life, is left feeling conflicted and concerned. Drawing upon his previous conversations with Migi, Shinichi offers Yamagishi a crucial piece of advice, suggesting the use of a flamethrower as the primary weapon in the upcoming operation. Recognizing the effectiveness of this strategy, Yamagishi incorporates Shinichi's input into the plan. During the operation, Yamagishi and his squad work diligently to evacuate civilians from the town hall, utilizing advanced technology to identify the parasites hidden among the human population. The stakes are high as they navigate the dangerous landscape and attempt to neutralize the parasite threat. Yamagishi and his crew kill the female parasite, and then they decide to hunt down additional parasites. Because Yamagishi doesn't care about civilians, he kills parasites and many people die as a result. His crew is then met by Goto, who, utilizing his powers, kills every one of them. Hirokawa is getting ready to attack a different squad. This is his final stand and he knows he might die in the battle. Hirokawa expresses his disdain for humanity, blaming them for being a blight upon the earth. He believes that their inability to accept the presence of the parasites among them is what truly infects the world. As Hirokawa is shot to death by the squad members, a shocking revelation unfolds. He is revealed to be human and not a parasite. This revelation adds another layer of complexity to the ongoing conflict. Meanwhile, Uragami takes advantage of the chaos and makes his escape after shooting Hirama's partner, Katsumata. As the situation escalates, Goto systematically eliminates all the squad members remaining inside the town hall, leaving a trail of destruction in his wake. On the roof of the town hall, Yamagishi faces a grim fate as he is beheaded by Goto. After the devastating encounter, Goto meets Shinichi outside the town hall and vows to kill him. However, before exacting his revenge, Goto decides to replenish his energy. Left in a state of fear and paranoia, Shinichi skips school the next day, plagued by vivid and terrifying visions of Goto lurking in every corner. He realizes that he is completely vulnerable while Migi is asleep, heightening his sense of helplessness. Overwhelmed by the weight of his circumstances, Shinichi breaks down emotionally when Satomi visits him outside his house, prompting him to flee. Later, Satomi manages to find Shinichi at the playground and invites him to her house. In a moment of intimacy, they make love, which serves as a powerful catalyst for Shinichi. It renews his will to survive and provides him with a newfound determination to confront the challenges he faces. Shinichi Izumi and Migi devise a plan to kill Goto by crashing a car into him and driving off a cliff. However, their attempt proves unsuccessful as Goto miraculously survives the crash. Undeterred, they regroup and plan to ambush Goto in a forest. Migi separates from Izumi to launch a surprise attack, but their strategy falls short, and Migi sacrifices himself to enable Shinichi's escape. The loss of Migi leaves Shinichi devastated and heartbroken, now injured and alone. In his injured state, Shinichi is taken in by an elderly woman named Mitsuyo, who offers him shelter at her house for a few days. Despite his physical and emotional pain, Shinichi discovers that Migi's cells are still present within his body. As nearby villagers inform Mitsuyo about another villager who has been killed, Shinichi realizes that Goto is responsible. Determined to confront the parasite on his own, he confides in Mitsuyo about the monstrous presence and his decision to confront it. Mitsuyo, deeply concerned for Shinichi's well-being, implores him not to throw his life away. However, after understanding his unwavering resolve, she reluctantly supports him and provides him with a cleaver before sending him off with her blessings. Under the cover of night, Shinichi ventures into the forest to hunt for Goto. However, Shinichi quickly realizes that he is severely outmatched by Goto's immense strength and endurance. He endures a brutal beating at the hands of the parasite. Just as hope seems lost, Shinichi manages to pierce Goto with a metal pipe salvaged from a dump of toxic waste. In a moment of desperate retaliation, a fragment of Migi emerges from Shinichi's right arm and counters Goto's strike, reuniting with the rest of Migi that was previously absorbed by Goto. Izumi begins to pursue Goto around the forest, however his trap falls flat. Goto is smart and Goto is simply too strong. He starts to fight Izumi, and he beats Izumi almost to death. Goto is stabbed in the back by Izumi, who grabs hold of a metal pipe. After that, Goto makes an attempt to harm Izumi, but Migi shows up and helps its host. The toxic waste contained in the pipe begins to infect Goto's body, triggering a rejection response from the other parasites within him. This allows Migi to take control and systematically destroy Goto's body. As Goto's body desperately attempts to regenerate, Shinichi is faced with a critical decision, whether to preserve or destroy Goto's body. Initially leaning toward mercy, Shinichi is ultimately convinced by Migi that destroying Goto's body is essential for the sake of humanity and the safety of others. With a heavy heart, Shinichi accepts Migi's argument and carries out the necessary act of destroying Goto's body, ensuring that the parasite threat is extinguished. This moment marks a significant turning point for Shinichi, as he grapples with the moral complexities of his actions and the consequences they hold for both himself and the world around him. 1 year has passed since the town hall incident, and the mincemeat murders have ceased. In a poignant dream, Shinichi experiences a deep sense of sadness as Migi bids him farewell, preparing to enter a hibernation-like state. Memories of his lost loved ones flood his mind, intensifying his emotions. When Shinichi awakens, he is astonished to discover that his right hand has been fully restored. While on a date with Satomi, Shinichi finds himself contemplating the contradictions within humanity's relationship with the Earth. He ponders the idea that loving the Earth should also entail self-love and acceptance. These introspective thoughts reflect Shinichi's continued growth and understanding of the complexities of human existence. However, their peaceful moment is abruptly disrupted when Uragami suddenly appears and kidnaps Satomi, taking her to the rooftop of a nearby building. Shinichi, fueled by determination and love for Satomi, races to catch up with them. On the rooftop, Uragami taunts Shinichi, asserting that humanity is filled with monsters and suggesting that Shinichi himself exists in a state between humans and parasites. Despite the dire circumstances, Satomi expresses a newfound understanding of Shinichi as a person, seeing beyond the dichotomy of human and parasite. Their connection strengthens in this moment of crisis, as she recognizes the complexity of his identity and the battles he has faced. As Uragami threatens to throw Satomi over the ledge, Shinichi springs into action, delivering a powerful blow that renders Uragami unconscious. However, he fails to save Satomi in time, and she falls from the rooftop. In that crucial moment, Migi makes an appearance in Shinichi's mind, reminding him that he must be the one to hold on now. Drawing strength from Migi's presence, Shinichi finds his right hand instinctively gripping Satomi's left hand, refusing to let her slip away. With determination and the support of Migi, Shinichi pulls her up to safety, saving her life. Overwhelmed with gratitude, Shinichi thanks Migi for still being there and for returning to aid him when he needed it most. The two become even better friends than before. The end. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and click the bell icon to get new anime recaps.